This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, and I am your host, Coach Thomann. I'm a former athlete, teacher, coach, and athletic director that switched careers after surviving cancer and a stroke in the fall of 2020. But I'm also a dad of a son and a daughter that were successful high school athletes that went on to college. Now I use that experience along with my ICF coaching certification when helping teams, coaches, and athletes from all over the country. Each week, I will pose a specific question that will help coaches of all types better understand mental toughness. In the Mental Mettle Podcast, coaches will learn to help their athletes overcome adversity without being the adversity they need to overcome. Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great. They're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website and get started on the journey to a more confident and successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching. Mettle is a person's ability to face adversity in a spirited and resilient manner. It is a great skill to have for athletics and for life, but it is not something we are born with. If you want it, you have to forge your mettle. And if you listen to the Mental Mettle Podcast, you already know that, but not everybody else does yet. So help me out by ordering and wearing some sweet The Mental Mettle Podcast gear. We've got short sleeve tees, long sleeve tees, and some super comfortable hoodies. Order online today and you can have your gear in no time. But the best part is that every order helps support the show and helps me spread the message that mental toughness is a trait that can and should be built. So find the link in the show notes, order your gear, and start showing that you know how to forge your mettle. And welcome back to the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Thomann, and I'm here with my guest today, basketball coach, Mike Burris. Thanks for joining me, Coach.
Coach Thomann, great to be with you today, man. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm gonna make a plug for myself here right now, just what we were talking about. So, my brother Andy is good friends with you. You've known Andy for years, and Andy posted one of my podcasts, and you saw it, and next thing you know, you're listening to the podcast, and I was talking to you. I'm like, well, just come on, and that's just me saying. I'm always saying to people, I'm like, hey man, share it because it's good stuff. It's out there. It's knowledge. I love sharing knowledge. I love hearing. I love listening to podcasts, reading books, and getting. I mean, the thing with knowledge is like you don't have like you can listen to me and you're like, I don't like that. You can just turn it off, right? But I love.
Absolutely.
You just never know who you're going to resonate with, and that's what I love about it.
No, and just like as a coach, I mean, we're always trying to find ways to better ourselves. You know. So you made my drive. I can't. Per NCAA rules, I can't tell you where I was at, but I was recruiting and I was able to listen to 7 of your podcasts during my drive. I'm a huge fan, and I'm definitely going to share your link to your podcast and hopefully increase your numbers that are listening.
I love it.
Great stuff.
I love it, and we'll be able to add to the archives here. So we'll have a good. So the same thing I always do with every guest. I want to talk about your background, growing up, playing sports, doing stuff. Tell me where you're from, what you've done, and just some of your background, Coach.
Small town. I was born and raised in Owensburg, Indiana, which is a town of about 250 people, or I like to say maybe 3 pages in the old phone book. Very, very small town, about 20 miles southeast of Bloomington, Indiana. So we were at 2A high school. We were a really good program. I was fortunate enough to be a 4-year varsity starter at the basketball team. We were 75-12 in those 4 years. And I like to tell everybody, that was one class basketball. 1997 was the last year of class basketball. Last year of one class basketball in Indiana. And our sectional, which is a regional in Illinois, We were in the sectional, so we were a school of about 325 students, and we were in the sectional with Bloomington South, Bloomington North, Bedford North Lawrence. So, all 2,000 plus type enrollments, and we lost, but Bloomington North won the state championship in 1997. So that was out of our sectional, but I was able to have a really good career there. I ran track and cross country many pounds ago, but really enjoyed being a three-sport guy in high school. And then I went to Alney Central Junior College out of high school. Was a basketball player there for 2 years. Like every kid, I wanted to play Division I. Coming out of a small high school, not getting some of the attention or playing on the AU teams that some kids are able to do, because AU back then wasn't as big. It wasn't as many teams. You had to be really good to play on some of the teams. So I played on I was Bloomington Red, which is Indiana Elite now, which is a great program, but I was on the second team. But we just didn't have the tournaments and things, and a lot of Dow Hayes from a small school. What can he do? And I wanted to go JUCO route, and went JUCO and put on about 20 pounds during my 2 years there, and really developed and showed I could play, and ended up with about 9 or 10 D1 offers, and then ended up going to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California, Big West Conference. I was there for 2 years. Didn't win a lot of games there, but saw a part of the country that was really beautiful. And I got told all my guys when I was a junior college coach is like, use basketball to get you somewhere that you may never be able to use or see. And it was a great experience. And then once I was done there, I was able to come back and work for Coach Glass, who was my coach in JUCO. Was there as an assistant for 4, and then was a head coach there for 15 years. And then I left there to go to University of Indianapolis as assistant for head coach Paul Casaro, which he was recruiting our point guard named Jalen Moore that I had that was a really good player. He ended up going to Oakland. But Coach Casaro was the assistant at Purdue Fort Wayne. So we were talking on a daily basis, and then he got the job at UIndy, and he was an alum. He played football and basketball at UIndy, and said, hey, I'm 31 years old. I want to hire somebody that's been a head coach before, who's done it, who lines up with my same morals and values and beliefs that I trust. And, we had a really good relationship, talking on a daily basis. My wife used to say, is that your girlfriend? Because we talked so much during the process, so, and then, we had 4 great years there, and now we're in year 1 at Indiana University in Indianapolis, which used to be IUPUI. On July 1, we rebranded, dropped Purdue. It'll be ooey pooey for me forever. I mean, it's everybody's growing up in Southern Indiana, but now we're IUND, and it's kind of confusing because we were at UND D2 and now we're at IUND. But we're really excited about that move, and looking forward to getting to Division I level, which was always a dream of mine when I first got into coaching. And even beyond when I was little, I always wanted to coach. I was one of those guys. I knew I wasn't going to be a pro, but I wanted to play sports as long as I could, and then I wanted to coach. I wanted to have the impact on young people, and it's worked out. I mean, 24 years, man. It's flown by.
I trust me. I get it. You are in a rare company here, in the sense that you're talking about I went to, you having coached in Alney, you knew where I grew up in Noble, you
absolutely.
actually grew up in a town that is actually smaller than the town I grew up in, which is not easy to do. I think we had 850. I don't think it's that high anymore. So I just and I left there and played some Division III stuff, but it's not like, I think you're talking about being this kid from this small town school. It's like, and you're like, can he really do it? Part of that is legit, because when you don't have that competition, it's hard. But then there's also good players that come from that. Like that had to be a little bit of a struggle for you heading into JUCO, or did you feel like it was a pretty easy transition?
From the standpoint, and I tell a story all the time. When I went on my visit, I saw some inner city kids from St. Louis and Chicago that made me fall down. And, on my visit, I got crossed over 3 or 4 times, and I'd never seen that type of athleticism or quickness. And I remember my dad driving me back, and he was like, "Well, what'd you think?" And I'm like, "I tell you what, good athletes." But I said, when I come back, watch, because now I know what to expect. And now I'm going to go work and become, jump rope and do defensive slide, just do some things that's going to help me with my quickness. But I also know that I saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. I mean, that athleticism was hard to go against on a daily basis until I got to JUCO, and it made me better. I mean, I was a solid athlete. Like I said, I ran track, and I actually went to the state in the 400, and just had my school record broken this past year, which for 23 years, it was something that was pretty
That's
cool.
that, but that's that straight line speed. That's a little bit different than that athleticism you're trying to
Right,
stay in front of, right?
Seeing Everett Stubblefield at 5'10", who was a little water bug, and went on to play at Lewis University. I mean, it took an adjustment, but it made me better. But my thing was always this: is like I had confidence in myself and a belief in myself that I could play, and that I was never scared to back down from anybody. And I always look for those challenges. And going to junior college was obviously a great opportunity for me, and allowed me to pursue my dream and eventually make it to Division I level.
Yeah. So when you talk about, I love always having this conversation when you're talking about you're coming out of high school and you had this confidence, you this belief, and you didn't back down. Where I always try to figure out, is that something that you were just born with? Did you develop that? Not everybody has it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even good athletes, not everybody has it,
Correct.
right? So do you figure out like where'd that come from at such an early age for you?
For me, seeing my parents, just their work ethic. My dad worked at Crane Naval Base and, was up at 6 a.m., going to work and coming home and then playing catch with us and just always finding time to put in an unbelievable amount of hours. Mom, same. She was a teacher's assistant at elementary school. But a guy that was big in my development was Coach Mark Barnheiser. His son, Brooks Barnheiser, plays at Northwestern, really good player. But Coach has won over 500 games. But Coach was a guy that would open the gym up at 5 a.m. And no matter what time we got there, he was already doing sprints in the parking lot, already doing individual workout. But he was just like, open the gym up. Mike, you need to come in here. And then I had teammates, guys like Dusty May. Dusty May was my high school teammate, who's the Michigan coach now. We just had guys rolling in there. So I think seeing my parents in my family's blue collar, seeing that work ethic, and then I just had a drive, and seeing my high school coach always working out and having the gym open for me. I wanted to be something. I wanted to go somewhere far with the game of basketball, but I always had the belief, and I'm trying to instill it in my kids, like, I may not be the best athlete, but you're not going to outwork me.
Yeah.
And if you work hard, you're going to have success.
I love you. I love that answer because whenever you talked about having confidence, like I love to talk the difference between confidence and arrogance, right? And they can look similar, right?
Very similar.
But confidence comes from actually have done things to develop that. Arrogance is just, it's not built on anything that's real. And I think that's probably something you see as a coach. I don't know, is it hard to tell, like, if a kid's coming in, is he confident or is he arrogant, and how do you figure that out?
It's easy to see, and we can do that during our evaluations. Watching those kids that have the opportunity to compete, and are they shying away from that competition, or are they embracing it and thriving? And there is a difference. The guy that talks about it all the time, or the guy that's always posting videos of him working out, is probably not going to beat the guy that's working in silence. And it's kind of what we see is those guys that are always posting, hey, I'm in the gym. Hey, great. A lot of guys are in the gym right now, but the guy that's got his cell phone put away and it's actually putting in true work is the guy that's going to beat you, and is doing it, for him to get better and not doing it for likes or retweets.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, it's the stuff that it's behind the scenes, and yeah,
Unseen hours. A lot of us talk about.
Yeah, they love to talk about that, but I really don't think if you're not an athlete that's made it into college, play somewhere, unless you have freak athletes that can just show up and do stuff. That just happens. But the amount of hours you got to be able to put in, like, I don't think people understand it.
It's a lot of time, and that's where that confidence comes from. Just knowing that, you put that extra time in, you took that shot 500 times from that one, that 15-foot baseline jumper. You've taken it over and over. And when the lights turn on and the butts are in the seats, that, you're willing and ready for that opportunity. And it is something that, a lot of people that don't have sports backgrounds, just think we just throw the ball out and, on game days. And it's just seeing kids that are texting you or calling you, "Hey, coach, can you unlock the gym at midnight?"
Yeah.
Sure. We're going to do it because there's a lot of other bad things you could be doing at midnight. We'll
Absolutely, right?
and that's
I
why
can,
my coach always say nothing good happens after midnight. So
no, I guess unless if you're in the gym, I can remember the summer before my son's senior year, like he was like, I don't think I'm gonna get a job. I'm just gonna work on my stuff. And I said, that's fine, but you're gonna work. And he would get up in the morning. He got, of course, he's one of those kids that finagled the key to the gym, right? Which that's, you know what I mean? And he would get up, pack his lunch. He'd get in the gym like 7 in the morning, and we wouldn't see him till 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, people are like, is he in there all day? I'm like, yes, all day.
No
And
doubt.
and he's not. I'm not saying he's rare, but the kids that make it do that, right?
You have to. I mean, it really is. I mean, seldom do you see a guy just get based off just pure athletic ability. I mean, there's a drive that because I think on one of your podcasts the other day. I mean, and I'm true believer in this. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Give me the guy that obviously you have to have talent to play any level of college basketball, post high school, but the guys are putting in extra work that are committed. Similar story. Me and my parents were like, "Hey, you need a job." I'm like, "No, I'm going to save you money because I'm getting a scholarship." And during the summers, I may be gone from 6 to 6. I didn't go to prom. I was in playing basketball. I'm just things like that. That I was totally committed to getting where I wanted to be, and no obstacle was going to get in my way of what I wanted. And I put the work in, and now I don't know how to change my oil or do some things that my dad was always teaching us, but. I went 4 years of debt free. Being a college.
No, which is I think the thing is, and it's not for everybody, right?
Correct.
I don't think everybody can do that, and everybody wants to do that, and it's fine, but it's a special thing to be able to get somewhere and get I mean, there is the genetic component for scholarships. It just has to happen. It just, but it's not for everybody, and neither are scholarships.
Absolutely.
So
very difficult.
I mean, so you can't make chicken salad out of chicken feathers, or perhaps you've heard it or even said the other version. Regardless, good coaches should not blame a lack of success on the players they get to coach. It's a lame excuse, and I'm sorry if that ruffles your feathers. But it's your job as a coach to develop your players. If your athletes lack skill or mental toughness, it's your responsibility to develop it. But how do you make today's athlete tougher without risking breaking them? Well, Mental Mettle Coaching now offers professional development for coaches, explaining how to do just that. The program is called Ember to Inferno, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. It teaches real tools and tangible methods that are proven to increase the mental health and toughness of athletes. The program is available as an in-person seminar or as virtual small group coaching. Don't wish for mentally tough athletes. Build them. Contact Mental Mettle Coaching today. Parents of athletes know that confidence and belief are fundamental for success. We want them to play without fear and without anxiety, but once those negative thoughts take over, it can derail years of work. Turning that anxiety into belief is similar to building strength and speed. It just takes intentional effort over time. Mental Mettle Coaching provides the individual drills needed to build the positive mindset necessary for success on the court and in life. Contact today to schedule a free coaching session and start building mental toughness in your athlete. Talk to me about the fact that you were a 3-sport athlete. Now you got boys, but you're now a Division I basketball coach. That stuff butts heads now, right?
It's challenging, and
I just want your take on it now in today's world.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean it's obviously as a dad, I want to be at every possible event of my kids, and I have to give my wife Lacey a ton of credit because she feels like a single parent sometimes. Like tonight, I'm on here with you, and she just dropped both boys off of basketball practice. And she does that a lot during the season. And I work for a guy, Paul Cassar, who's big belief in family. And every opportunity that I have to see my kids, play baseball, football, or basketball, he's a big advocate. Hey, get your butt out of here. Go see your kid play. But obviously there's times when you can't do it. I may be on the road recruiting, or we may be on a 4 or 5 day road trip during the season. So I embrace every opportunity, to be around them. But it's challenging. And as a guy that played 3 sports, I mean, they're doing that now. All three of them, being up here, we got football, and I didn't have football at Eastern Green, so maybe
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago, but I probably would have played. But it's baseball, basketball, and football. But nowadays, it's travel baseball. I mean, they're playing 4 or 5 months. I mean, you can play year round up here.
Yeah.
All the facilities in Indianapolis, indoor facilities. So I'm a big believer in changing sports, not becoming a specialized athlete until you get to the point. Okay, I don't love this sport, or maybe I had the opportunity to play this in college if I had a little bit more time committed to be better in the sport. But my high school coach was big on us playing multiple sports because he felt like, hey, you're changing your different muscles you're using, but at the end of the day, you're competing. You're always competing as a competitor. You're getting better on a daily basis, no matter what sport you're doing. If you're a true competitor,
How about when you're on the recruiting trail?
it's tough. A lot of FaceTime.
I'm talking about what you're looking for,
Oh,
right?
what am I
Are you
looking?
looking for? Are you
Okay.
looking for athletes that have been multi-sport?
Yeah,
Because
I mean, multi-sport guys are obviously. Our belief is, hey, if you play multiple sports, because my boss played football and basketball at a high level. Started off at Youngstown State, Division I football. Was like a dual quarterback, kind of a running threat, and then transferred to UIndy because he wanted to play basketball. He's from the south side of Indy, so we definitely look for guys who play multiple sports because we feel like, okay, if you play 3 sports, 2 sports, when it's time to play one in college, your growth, ability to really improve when you concentrate on one sport is tremendous.
I think that's an interesting take on it, right? Because I think that some kids, when you get a kid that's played, let's just say played basketball and only basketball and done it year round for 6 years, right? And they're a senior in high school, like it's like they've already topped out on their growth curve a little bit as far as some of their ability, where it's an interesting take on it. And I hadn't really thought of it that way, but it's probably true.
It is. I mean, I think there's some growth there. Sometimes it's based off of what system that kid may be coming from and how we
That's
play,
fair.
and seeing different things how that kid could possibly grow. But that's one thing we do look for is just competitive spirit. Are you a competitor? I mean, obviously, you're always going to look for character. We want character, not characters. So we want high character guys that are doing the right things. And a lot of times we go out and recruit. I mean, I just saw a kid the other day, and I'm asking the janitor, hey, what do you think about so and so? Because what do they have to lose in being honest with an assessment with that kid? Like, hey, yeah, we know him. He's a great kid in the hallway. And when I was at the JC level, there was guys, times I went to recruit a kid and a teacher or administrator, anybody to say that kid's bad news. Okay, thanks for letting me know. We're done recruiting. We're going to move on and find the next one because there's enough kids out there that want to be in college that are grateful for the opportunity and will embrace it fully once they get on campus and in line with our values of being a good kid and doing things the right way.
Yeah, and I hear that story all the time, and it's the truth. But I don't want names, but like you have to have done it wrong at some point. Be like taking a flyer on a kid, be like, I think it's worth a chance. Like you get,
yeah, absolutely, especially in junior college level. I was there for a long time, and a lot of times, early on, when I first started coaching, I'm so much different now because anything you do, the more you do, the better you get, and you can reflect on things. There was a few kids that, hey, I'm going to take a chance on. I mean, my first year, I get the job late, and we have 7 or 8 scholarships, and I go out and sign what I thought was a really talented team on paper. And in our first game of the year, we go to West Plains, Missouri, and the number 1 team in the nation and win the national championship. Arkansas Fort Smith. They beat us by like 6 points. So we're 6 points away from like the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
And their coach afterwards, I mean, coach, you got a great team. You guys are really talented. Well, on the way home, we destroyed the bathroom on the charter bus. We did some things at the hotel room. So, very, very disappointing that, but then I look back, okay, we signed those kids. School started in 2 weeks. We signed 6 of those kids right up to there was a reason they were still available. And that's when I learned, okay, we got to do more homework. We got to make sure we bring good kids in. And if there's a lot of hearsay of them questioning character, then you probably got to go with your gut a little bit more. And I trust my gut and my eyes a lot more after that first year.
How'd that first year go then?
I'm bald, lost all my hair right away, and it was we ended up getting rid of a lot of those kids. I had administrative support to say, I know you want to do this the right way. Let's move these kids out of here. We picked up some baseball players from Coach Connolly's program to
Which,
have enough guys to play, and it was a long year from a win loss standpoint, but it was a very good year for me to go through and like, okay, never again. If we take a chance on a kid, we better have 12 or 13 really, really good kids around
yeah.
him that he'll transform, hopefully rub off on those guys in a positive manner.
Yeah, so that's leading into my next question, right? Is like you're trying to recruit character, not characters. I love that. But how much success do you have in transforming an attitude or transforming an individual that doesn't have the highest character? What kind of success do you have in that at that?
I mean, it's tough, and back in junior college, again, early in my career, we took a few and tried to transfer those guys into what we wanted them to be, kind of mold them into what we want, our kids to be. And it got to the point, it wasn't worth the headaches. The production, didn't match the problems. And from that point on, we said, okay, we're going to do our homework. And not to say kids are imperfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're all young. A lot of those kids are moving away for the first time. And, in Olney, Illinois, of 8,500, maybe 9,000 people, there's not a lot to do at times outside of practice, and
Yeah.
that was, you had to bring good guys in. That, okay, you know what? I don't have anything to do. There's two ways to look at it. I'm bored. I'm going to go find trouble. Or two, there's nothing to do. I'm going to go get in the gym and get better because I'm here for a reason. And once we shifted that and identified the guys that really wanted to be there to get better and take Olney as an opportunity to go on to bigger and better, that was two words we always talked about at Olney: bigger and better. Move on to bigger and better. Not that Olney was a bad place; we loved it, but was your dream? We always say, was your dream to play at Olney Central College? Was your dream to play at Illinois or Southern Illinois or University of Indianapolis, anywhere? I mean, you want to go to a 4-year school, and sometimes, you had to take a detour to get to where you wanted to go. And we say, hey, this is your detour, but this could lead to great things if you handle it the right way.
So I've worked with some basketball players in professional capacity that are in JUCO, and they weren't only it was a different JUCO, but it's a struggle because the bigger and better is a great idea, but it's also, how do you get them to play team basketball when they know I have to be seen to get bigger and better, right? That, to me, that's the struggle with JUCO.
Correct.
And I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, everybody, we had to talk about when one eats, we all eat, and just try to buy into that mindset that, what, if you're having a great game, then I'm having a great game. Because I told them at the end of the day, I mean, I had some guys in my first few years where we were struggling to win games that put up huge numbers, but I couldn't anybody recruit them because no one wanted to recruit a loser, and then we started having some teams that were winning 20, 25 games in one of the best leagues in the country. Hey, that kid averaged 4 points a game, and now he's got 3 Division I offers. Well, because at the next level, and I see it now because I've been doing it for so long at this level, is we're not recruiting a guy to come in and be the savior. We're recruiting a guy to come in and be a piece of the puzzle. So it's if you're having a success at the junior college level and you're winning, then at the 4-year level we can come in and say, okay, this guy he's a winner. He's about the right things. He can transfer to us and not rock our boat from a culture standpoint, and knows that, hey, I did my role. That your role may be different in some capacity, but nonetheless, you're going to have a role that's really important, and it's always we over me, and it's something that we try to identify with our recruits now.
So you saw that correlation. You won more games, you get more guys.
Absolutely
placed.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my things now. I mean, if I see it, I mean, we're always trying to find separators because you could take 25 kids, all 6'2" to 6'4", all very similar in skill level. What separates that pile of players? We look for the grades, obviously the character, and then it's going to come down to wins and losses. Are you coming from a losing program, or are you coming from a winning program that if you're winning at a high level, then you've been probably taught how to do things the right way and be about the right things.
Yeah. It's just, I just love that dynamic. And well, actually, I mean, it's you're not in that much of a different dynamic now, being at Division I with all the transfer rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's you hope not, but it changes everything.
It's definitely changed, the last few years. But our big belief is if you have the relationships with your players and you love your players and you respect your players, and you're going to push your players and challenge your players to be the best they can be in the classroom, on the court. But you also have to have those open door policy where you guys are, you're bringing your guys in, you're really conversing with them and getting to know them, where it's just not, where they don't feel it's just about basketball, and it's got to be bigger than basketball. And, that was one thing with Coach Casaro, he talks about all the time, is retainment is our number one thing. Academics and retainment. We can recruit all we want, but we got to take care of our own guys. We got to really be there for them and help them, academically and want them to come back and stay on our program. And we didn't have, Division II level when we were really successful winning games at a high level. We didn't have guys jump ship. You're going to have your occasional guy, hey, coach, I want to play more. I love it here. Can I play 15 minutes next year? Well, you know what? Here's who's in front of you. And you have those honest conversations. These guys are in front of you right now. It's going to be hard for you. But if you want to go somewhere where you have more of a role, we'll get on the phone and help you out. So we didn't lose guys, jumping ship to, bigger, better places. They stayed with us, and we were able to win a lot of games in 4 years. And we hope that'll continue.
How important are those honest conversations?
Very important. Very important. Now on the flip side is you want to have that conversation. You better be ready for, the flip side of that. You may not hear what you want to hear, but I think it's really healthy and important to have those honest conversations. And I think it's something we do is we have great relationship with our guys because we're always talking to them. We're bringing them in the office and, we're always conversing with them. Hey, how you doing? It's not, hey, you need to do this at practice. No, how are you doing? How's mom? How's dad? How's your brother? How's your sister? How's school going? And I think that's really, really important that your players feel more than just being a student athlete. You're going to care about them classroom wise and on the court, but you really have to, foster those relationships. It's more than just basketball and books.
Yeah, it brings up something I've heard lately since the whole transfer portal and all thing. I've heard some coaches at the college level say, and they say it kind of like in a frustrated manner, say, I have to re-recruit my kids every year. And I'm like, and part of me is like, you should be anyway. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's the best recruiting is building that relationship, and you should be building that relationship nonstop.
Absolutely. That's something we won't say, and that's what I love about working for Coach Casaro is, retaining is important, but you retain that by having those conversations on a daily basis and letting your guys know you love them and you care for them. And yeah, we don't have to re-recruit our guys. We build that relationship year round, and we also build really good relationships with that circle around those players. It's really important these days. I mean, everybody's got an uncle or AAU coach, high school coach, mom, dad, step parents, maybe in some occasions. There's a lot of people that you need to connect with during that process. Yeah. That message is similar and the same for everybody. Sometimes you just recruit the kid or the coach. Not everyone's hearing that same message, and we really try to connect with everybody that's in that young person's life of importance. To make sure that message is very similar, so you don't run into some problems sometimes.
So one of the ideas that I'm picking up on as I meet with so many coaches is the more you connect with them, the more that they see that you care, the more you have that relationship with them, the more you can push them through. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Without them, like if we get into the mental toughness part, right? It's like part of that mental toughness is I'm fighting for something because it's bigger than me. It's bigger. It's us, right? And I feel like there's this thing like the more a coach cares, the more they can push him.
Oh, no doubt about it. And that's a huge thing. Is I think we kind of talk about this. I've been a big believer in this. Like I'm going to coach you hard, but I'm going to love you harder. You know, and I think if you can really do that, and your players can see that, and it's just not lip service that you're living that message, then you're going to have a team that's going to run through a wall for you.
Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mettle Coaching. Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great. They're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website and get started on the journey to a more confident and successful athlete with Mettle Coaching.
And I just had a text a couple of days ago, and one of my former players from way back sent me a message, which I don't know if it's a compliment or not. I told my wife it was a Danny Hurley video, and Danny's chomping on his kids and on the video, and the kids say, "Hey, Coach, just want to let you know that you weren't easy to play for, but everything you did for me and told me, like, I knew you had my back, and I didn't really realize it at the time, but now I knew that you were coaching and pushing me to be a man, and I want to thank you because I am a man now because of you." And that message, when you get those occasionally, it makes it all worthwhile. That's our
I know the exact video you're talking about, and I have issues with it, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's. And I'm not Danny Hurley. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a phenomenal coach. I'm not about to say he was, but I feel like he could do the same success and do it with more positivity and less. Like, it feels like that video is it just feels negative. It makes it's cringy. I don't like it, and I think you can still push him, but you don't have to be that way.
No, and I also think, knowing him and from what I've been told, and a lot of coaches, like, you're going to find every negative clip you can find to make that video. So
Absolutely.
You get watches.
Absolutely.
You're not going to mix in the time he grabs a kid, puts his arm around him and is like, "Hey, 2 days ago I was on you about this. You just did it right. Great job." And every coach, and I agree. There's some guys that their wording can be harsh, how they say things, but at the end of the day, I think the really good coaches, whether they use that type of language or not, are loving their kids. But just some of them may not show it. You may not.
I think there does have to be a lot behind the scenes that we just don't get to see, which is of course right. Correct. That's the case. It's just I just hope it's not fair to be judged by your worst moments that are just clipped and
not every certain kids are made for that type of coach. I'm sure he goes into every house like, "Hey, I'm telling you, this is the kind of coaching you're going to get, and if you can't handle that, like, I need to know now, and I'll move on, because there's going to be certain kids out there that want that, crave that, and thrive under that, and then there's other kids that don't, and that's one thing about coaching is trying to find what buttons to push to take that kid from here. It's not, every kid there's more in the tank on every kid that we come across. How can we get that little bit more to get him here? And certain kids maybe need a little bit more pushing.
Absolutely.
And others, you got to pump the brakes. And that's something I think from my first couple of years, what I knew as a player and who I played for, I tried to be that way, and it wasn't successful. I had to say, okay, I want to do this. I'm not going to be very good. I gotta be myself and find myself and take what I've learned from everybody and incorporate that into my own coaching philosophy.
I was reading something the other day that said one of the best. It was a strange video, but it was talking about different like vibes people give and frequencies, and it was a weird. But I like checking out different stuff. But what it said was one of the most authentic frequencies that a human can have is authenticity, right? And if you are authentic to yourself, and I think this goes for coaches especially, if you are acting like yourself and not trying to disguise stuff, it resonates with people more.
Absolutely, no doubt.
And yeah,
100%.
so
I had to find that out myself. I mean,
absolutely. You try to be somebody else, and it doesn't work.
I was 25 years old. Is it my first head coaching job? And, at the junior college level, and I mean, it was. I had to learn a lot of different things.
Here's my problem with I guess this is what I was saying about like the Danny Hurley thing. People watch that. Like, I don't think you would feel the same if you were watching like the guy that was coaching your boys at youth, right? Acting like that, right? You see, and I think that people see that, and because it's like you said, Danny Hurley has to recruit the kids that he knows are going to handle that. But I think if a youth coach sees that, they don't get that. They don't get to recruit people. It's kids that are there, and I don't want them. They shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. Youth age. I mean, I think there's some discipline that you need, obviously.
Absolutely.
At that young age, and you want that kid to love it to come back the next day. At that young age, and I think you see it sometimes. And I've seen it, and luckily my boys have not come across it. They've had some great youth coaches. But you see some youth coaches sometimes that are probably shouldn't be coaching. As simple as that.
Well, I think that's the idea, is because when you're talking about you're recruiting kids with character, and you even said, hey, it's hard for us to develop that character if they don't already have it. It has to be developed somewhere, right?
Correct.
Like, and of course it's great if the parents develop it, but we know that doesn't always happen, right? So it's always interesting to me to figure out where does that character, where does that mental toughness get developed, and whose job is it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I tell a lot of youth coaches, that I wouldn't trade you spots. I mean, it's difficult. It's challenging. You're not getting paid, and you're dealing with a lot of different things. You don't know. You're not like with us. Like, we're with our kids so much. Our players so much that you're coming in for 2 days a week, maybe for practice and a game on Saturday. Like, you don't know what's going on in that kid's life, as much as what we do at the college level, and you got a short period of time to make an impact. And then, every Johnny and Jill, mom and dad probably think they should be playing more, or you're not playing the right people. And it's just, youth coaches, man, there's a special place in heaven for youth coaches.
I think even at high school, it's a little bit like that, because it depends on where you are in high school, but they don't get to recruit.
No. And you had a great message the other day on your chicken salad. You can't make
that you've heard that, right?
I've heard it, and I'm with you. That drives me crazy, and
it does.
If I'm saying that means we did a poor job recruiting. You
don't have anybody. But if you're the chef and you're the one doing the shopping, so it's up to you.
It's I'm pointing a finger, the thumb's pointing back at me. So, that's, you'll never hear us say that, but you've heard that a lot. And I'm like, man, like, you're wasting all your time and energy with that negative message, turn that negative thoughts into how can you get your guys better? And, and sometimes, I mean, there was times where we had bad records team wise, my first few years, and there was also a year where we were around 500. Man, I thought we got every ounce out of those kids. I didn't chalk that up as a failure, because I thought, we couldn't have squeezed another ounce out of that team, and we were hard out. We were limited, with some injuries and whatnot, but we never made excuses. We came to work every day, and, everybody on that team's highly successful now, and, great parents and great husbands. And, at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Well, I always say that the coach of the year honor should never go to the guy that wins a championship. It should be some guy that's got the 500 record or woman that's got the 500 record that's getting
Everything.
I mean, because you've coached long enough to know that, like, yeah, sometimes you get the culture built and you get things rolling, and it's, I don't want to say easy, but it's sure easier than when you're building that culture.
Correct. And it's never easy. Even when you get to that point where you got, a really talented team that's winning at a high level, like winning is hard. And I think it's one of the hardest things to do is win and win consistently. And the coaches that do that, I mean, there's a reason why they do that. I mean, they're able to connect and get everything out of their kids, and I'm sure that's based on a huge thing of just relationships. But culture is such a very important thing, and winning's hard. And be able to see some of these coaches that have done it for 25 plus years and win at a high level. I mean, you want to study and, what are they doing and how they, we're always, watching other teams on how they do things. And, it's winning's hard. Very, very hard.
So speaking of culture and winning and stuff, you're at a school, it's first year, right?
First year under a new name. We're a first year staff. I mean, they've been in existence for a while. Unfortunately, they haven't had success in a while. They've had some down years.
Well, that's my point. Is you're it's a brand new, like, you and the whole coaching staff is brand new there.
Yeah. Our first year.
So you've got a long road ahead here, right?
We do. I mean, from what it's been, the net ratings, I think it was 351, maybe Division I schools, I think somewhere around that, 350, 355. And we've been in, which used to be IUPUI, has been in the bottom 10 of the net ratings for like the last 4 years. So it's, when you look at it, but it's always how you look at it. That's one thing I love about Coach Casaro is we never make excuses for anything. We see a glass and it's half full, it's not half empty. And we're going to run into this. We got a great group of boys, young men that are committed in our vision, and we're getting better every day. And, that's all we can ask. And, you won't be outworked by our staff or our players. And we built it at UND, had, a program that had a lot of history, and we raised the bar there in our 4 years. And, we came in here, we're going to be swinging for the fences, and, just one day at a time, getting better every day. And our whole philosophy is, you either get better or you get worse. There's no in between.
Yeah.
So
I think that's true. I don't think we stay level. We're either going one way or the other.
And coaches are one of our key words in our program is attack. And what we mean by that is we're going to attack everything we do. Whether it's a film session, it's going to be the best film session we've ever had. If it's practice, it's going to be the best practice we've ever had. We're always striving to attack anything that's in front of us to make us get better. And when you have that, that was going to get better.
That was going to be my next question. Is whenever you start somewhere new, like you have to, in order to build a culture, you have to know what that culture, like, what you want it to look like. It may not be there yet, but you're like, here's what we're striving for. What's your guys, like, as you come in, you're building a culture. What is your true north? Like, what are you aiming at?
I mean, you can sit here and say this and that. I mean, we believe we can go win a conference championship in year one. Now doing that, I mean, you can sit here and say you want to win championships, but the process to that is what you have to.
Well, that's what when I say a true north, I'm talking about the values, right? Because I don't believe we all have goals. Every Division I program in the nation is starting right now saying, "Oh, we're going to win our conference."
Absolutely.
And it's just not going to happen. Yeah. So, when I talk about what's your true north, what's the process? What's the values you guys are trying to instill from day one?
Just to attack every single day. Being the best we can possibly be, and just pour into each other. We have a family atmosphere, a true family atmosphere. A brotherhood. We got great relationships in the locker room, and our goal is to just attack every single day, every weight room session, every practice, every film session, every study hall, every class is to go out and represent ourselves and our university in the best manner and be the best version of ourselves on a daily basis. And if we do that and trust the process of getting better and attacking each day, then the results will come.
I say it all the time, and I don't think people results are secondary, man.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the exact recipe for wins is, but it's not just focusing on winning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work that way. And
It's the process. You have to
Yeah.
embrace it. You have to enjoy the process, and you just got to put one foot forward every single day and climb that mountain.
Yeah, and I love to say that you have to actually, like, when you can't get wins every day, you have to be celebrating those steps,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right? Like,
mm-hmm.
you have to recognize your own success even when you're not winning yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Last question here. I always ask, what did I not ask that I should have? What did I miss?
Man, I don't know what you missed. I've enjoyed the conversation, and
I
I've
have
really
too.
enjoyed listening to you here recently. I mean, as I told you before we got on air, like being a dad is a lot like being a coach, and we want the best for our kids, just like we do our players, and don't always have the right answers in every process and dilemma that we face. We just kind of remember it on how we handled it and continue to grow, and trying to teach my own two sons about mental toughness and how they can give and pour themselves into their teams and continue to get stronger mentally and physically, because it's nice to have skills and that, but at the end of the day, man, it's what's 80% mental at least, to be an incredible athlete. So always trying to strive to learn and get better.
Well, I don't have a jump shot anymore. I don't know if I ever did, but a lot of the lessons I learned from playing athletics still have stuck with me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's that's what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you said, you're not running a 400 anymore like you used to.
Correct.
Right.
It'd be a lot slower. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
It's the lessons you learn from having to grind out a 400.
Correct.
At that level that stick with you.
Absolutely. And it's sports is such a great, avenue to rest your life. And I hear all the time, I mean, people are calling for, hire our players because they've been on a team, they know how to work with each other, and, they know how challenges, how to balance, a work life, because they've been a student athlete, all the hours of being on the road traveling, and hey, you're still a 4.0 student. You played 35 games, you're all conference, you won 25 games, like, come work for me. You may not be super as qualified as someone else over here, but again, we talked about in recruiting, that's a separator. And, I mean, I'd rather hire a person that's been in battle, been a college athlete that understands how to function as a team, and the ups and downs and the adversity that you face. And I mean, that's everybody's definition of mental toughness is different, and mine was, it's the ability to perform at the highest level with the ultimate focus, concentration, and confidence to get the job done no matter what obstacle lies in front of you. And it's just trying to get my young kids to understand that. They get frustrated.
It's a process, man. It's a process. They're just. And that's what I think I love about athletics, is that it constantly gives us that. Well, you don't develop mental toughness without the adversity.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You can't just. I can't tell you to be mentally tough. You have to actually practice it. So that's what I love about athletics, is it's a constant. You're constantly putting it in it, putting yourself in that tough situation, knowing that it's going to be hard. And I think that's. It's just, and that's something parents I need to know, that, like, if your kid struggling, maybe that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
it's good for them. But it's so hard to do.
Oh, it's funny because my oldest Baden has been really successful. He's played on travel teams, but he tried out for a team up here, and was a year older than him, and he didn't make the team, and he was devastated.
Oh, the worst thing ever, right?
And I was high-fiving my wife, not for the fact that my son's upset, but let's see how he reacts, because he's never had to face any adversity when it comes to sports. He's put in the work, but he's never had failure, where, okay, what do you do? And I think, hey, you know what? You knew about this workout 3 weeks ago. How many times did you swing a bat? How many times did you go out and, take some ground balls? Like, you didn't do anything 3 weeks leading up to it, knowing this team was a really good team and had one spot available, and there was about 12 kids that tried out for that one spot. Yeah. So, wipe your tears and let's learn from this, because You didn't prepare yourself for that opportunity, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail because you get knocked down 7 times, you're getting up 8, and
Yeah.
that was really good for him because he hadn't had that taste of failure.
It's not that it's okay to fail, it's necessary to fail. Like
Yes.
we have to have it. And I think that that's something that, if I would say it's something to parents that you have to know as your kids growing up, you need them to fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just need them to fail, right?
Yeah, so, it's not fun seeing your kid go through those.
Oh, it stinks. It's the worst.
Awful, but it's also, that's how you grow, and your growth mindset podcast the other day was something I've been struggling with my kid. Right now you got a fixed mindset. I mean, you're successful because you're physically better than everybody right now. We got to take it up a notch because 2 years ago, now that gap is closing.
It does.
What are you doing? I mean, you still have the skills, but you have to have the desire and crank your work ethic up a little bit because we're in Indianapolis. There's a lot of
yeah
here. There's a lot of fit. So which is it's a good lesson, and we're trying to get him to understand that a little bit and build that mental toughness with him, and he's getting there.
That's good. I mean, it's a long process.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
You're never there, right? I'm always working on it myself. So
it goes incredibly fast. My goodness, it seems like yesterday I was holding both of them in my arms, and now 5th grade, 3rd grade. It's just trying to enjoy the ride, and it's a quick ride.
Oh, it'll be there it gets there in a hurry, Coach. Just trust me. So. All right, Coach. It's been a great conversation. I can't thank you enough for coming on. So good luck. Go Jaguars, right?
Thank you. Jags. Yep, go Jags. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed the
time. You bet, Coach.
Keep having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. No amount of athletic talent or physical ability can overcome a poor mindset. Anxiety, fear, and negativity will always diminish an athlete's abilities and limit their success. If you're not intentionally developing your child's mental toughness, then they are not reaching their full potential. Mental coaching provides the individual drills needed to build the positive mindset necessary for success on the court and in life. Contact today to schedule a free coaching session and start building mental toughness in your athlete. Just another great episode with another coach. That one with Mike Burris. He's at IU Indy now. And just really enjoyed that. I think one of my favorite parts, and I said that in there, is that was he is a fan of the podcast, and he caught my podcast after my brother shared some stuff on his Facebook page. And that's what I'm constantly asking everybody to do is, if you read this, if you listen to this and you watch it on YouTube, whatever, and you enjoy it and you're like, hey, this is good stuff, you like it, then like it, share it. I put it out for everybody, for coaches, athletes, parents, whatever. But I like to share it and then have others and hear it and pick up the message and learn things from it, because coaches are sponges. Good coaches love to read, to listen, to do all those things. And it's great to hear a coach picking up and enjoying the podcast, because then I find out that they like it. And then invariably I get a hold of them, have them on the podcast and create more content for other people, which is good because Mike Burris has a lot of good information for other coaches. What really struck me about his expertise and what he's done is the fact that he's coached, and I'm going to mean this this isn't a bad way to say it, but he's coached at different places that players might tend to want to be somewhere else. And I don't mean that because, they're bad schools, but what I mean is he spent, I think, 14 years or more than 14 years at OCC, which is a junior college. And a lot of kids don't want to do that. They want to go. I mean, every kid has dreams, right? When you every player that's good enough to go to a JUCO probably had dreams of going D1 and getting on a school and being a starting freshman or something at D1. Because that's natural. We all want that. And then, and he had such a great career there. I didn't say it much in the podcast there, but I think in his 14 years, he's an all-time winning coach at Olney Central College. It was a really good JUCO school, something like 252 wins. But not just that. While he was there, he graduated 98% of his players. at the JUCO level, that's really good. So he's got some really good experience at that level. Again, at a place that I don't, it's tough because they didn't necessarily think about ending up at that level, but you've got to teach the kids to embrace that situation if they want to move forward, and he was able to do that. And then he spent years at a Division II school, and it was a really good Division II school in Indianapolis. And but it's the same way. I think kids growing up playing basketball, they don't walk around playing, talking about how I want to be D2. That everybody says I want to be D1, right? So you get a kid there at a Division II school, they feel like they missed the mark a little bit. So you have to address that, and you have to keep them happy where they are and growing and enjoying that. And even now, and he's at UI Indy, which is a good school, but it's not got a good track record with basketball in the last few years, like he's talking about, and everybody wants to move up. So I think that part of the things right now that a college basketball coach has to do is really worrying about retention and keeping players, especially now, because even if you're at a good D1 school, if you're not quite getting the playing time you want, they're looking to move somewhere else. So, but it's not even just college, right? It's the same thing with high school anymore. Kids they might move a high school, or they might just quit, right? So regardless of what level you're at, like, retention is important, and wanting to keep your players out and playing and enjoying it. And I think that's the message I got from that podcast the most, is his ability to do that and how he did that, because he's been at places that had a lot of success. So OCC, a lot of success when he was there. And then UIndy, at the Division II level, they were really good. So that was, I watched them play a couple games when my son was, they were in the same conference as UI Springfield, University of Illinois Springfield. And they looked like a D1 program. They were really good, really just a well-oiled machine with really good players. So they were really doing really well. So not only, I think that his ability, or the staff's ability, and he's part of that, to retain players and keep good players is a key part of their success. But even, when you're at the JUCO, you're only getting them for 2 years. So he's been able to mix that, is retaining the players, but then also build them up, finding good players and using them. And I'm thinking he's doing that with a couple different ways, just in that conversation. One, being very honest with players, knowing what they want out of them, what they're looking for when they recruit them, being really honest. And you could feel the enthusiasm without it. He's talking about attacking every day, and how that was their goal, is just how they're going to take every problem or every situation and be very attack minded, which is, to me, that speaks to a lot of intentionality. And like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we do. We're going to attack this problem. He definitely talked about loving the players and having it be a family aspect. And I think that is huge, especially at the college level, because they're in that level. It takes a lot of time and effort, and they're together. So it has to be somewhere they want to be, and somewhere they feel like they're loved. And that, I don't dismiss that idea about loving your players and stuff. Like, it's a big part of it. And again, it's not just for college. I think in high school, it has to be that way. Kids want to belong somewhere, and it's the coach's job to help them do that. But the one thing that I noticed that I think is probably bigger than anything is the communication piece, and communicating that honesty and that love and stuff, and not leaving things unsaid. Because he talked, sometimes the conversation is really hard, and skipping that hard conversation does not help you, does not help the kid, does not help the team. So that's a hard part of being a coach, having that hard conversation, but doing it positively and wanting them to stick around to get better, and just being honest with them. And it's hard, but obviously he's done it really well, and I enjoyed him coming on and talking about it. I thought that was some really good pieces, really good stuff there. So again, what I say, like, if you like this, like it, share it, put it out on your social media so somebody else can pick up on it, and that helps me get other guests, and just share the message of this positivity and working on the mental toughness of players, and how coaches can do that, because that's what I'm all about here. So yeah. So Once again, appreciate the listens. So I really enjoy putting this podcast together, and I'm glad you like listening to it. So once again, I've been your host, Coach Matt Thomann. This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, and always remember to forge your mettle. Thanks again for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast, produced by Coraggio Media, sponsored by QuickCut, a video management platform for every level of play, and by Mental Mettle Coaching, helping athletes learn to face adversity in a spirited and resilient way. The Mental Mettle Podcast is created each week to help players develop more mental toughness, and that is something that will help all of us. So help me out and like and share the Mental Mettle Podcast with your friends. Until next time, keep forging your mettle.